Hello, guys. Hope you're all doing well. This is TJ, and you're listening to Beyond the Ring podcast. And welcome to my special weekly episode of Reliving the 80s Classics, where I cover Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling's episodes weekly. And today we are going to cover the 31st October 1981 show. So, if you haven't checked out past episodes that I have covered, please do check out. I have created a separate playlist for that. So, without any further ado, let's get into this review then. So the show actually starts off with Bob Caudle and David Crockett, and as usual, they are on commentary. And right out of the bat, we are onto the first match, which is Charlie Fulton versus Buddy Landell, and this was a one-sided match because. Charlie Fulton was having most of the offense in this match, and some basic kind of moves, wrestling moves like head scissors, trying to gain the advantage momentarily on Landell, and having some few forearms, trying to escape the hold by Burley Landell. We actually saw in the meanwhile Fulton then actually controls again with into the ropes, and Landell actually tries to have an upper hand on Fulton, and the crowd were the fans were all onto Buddy Landell, and they were supporting Buddy Landell. And finally, after a ton of offense which was caught for Charlie Fulton, the whole match, was controlled by Charlie Fulton by multiple arm drags, leg takedown, pin attempts, and snapmare control, chin lock, and all. Multiple arm drags, as I said, a few knees into midsection as well, but into Landell's midsection as well. And into the end, we saw Landell was knee dropped, but he doesn't get Fulton doesn't get the pin, and he whips Landell into the turnbuckle and continues to beat on him. And Landell then reverses a whip, and Fulton gets backdrop, and Landell follows with a side suplex and gets the pin on Fulton. So a nice opener, nothing to say special about, but okay opener, I would say. And then we get to an interview of between of Chief Wahoo McDaniel and Jake the Snake Roberts, and they join Caudle and Crockett for an interview, and Roberts actually talks about the tag team match featuring Ole Anderson and Super Destroyer, where someone else showed up wearing their mask and also used a foreign object on Paul Jones, attacking Paul Jones in the match, which Ref didn't understand, and it was actually Gene Anderson who actually disguised as a Super Destroyer, and that was a complaint, and that was the whole situation which Chief Wahoo McDaniel and Chief the Snake Roberts were telling about, and they are not liking what is happening here because they are the faces and they want to restore order. And in the closing minutes of the match between, they show that the entire segment, and this was kind of 5 to 10 minutes, and they show the closing minutes of the match between Anderson and Super Destroyer and Roberts and Paul Jones, and the grappler is on commentary. They show how Gene Anderson showed up as and disguised as and dressed as a Super Destroyer in the incident, and Jake and Wahoo wants to have revenge for that. And post that, we saw Ole and Gene Anderson coming and join Bob Caudle, and he was upset that Roberts and McDaniel were making false accusations, and he also said Gene didn't need a weapon to knock out Paul Jones, and they also vowed to do the same to Roberts and McDaniel like they did to Paul Jones. And David Crockett said that this is not gonna be like, you're not defending the titles. This is decided, and he tells Anderson that they are going to have to defend the tag titles at some point. And we get to the next match, a squash match, Handsome Jimmy Valiant versus Hangman Ricky Harris, and this match was a squash match where Jimmy Valiant with his dancing and with his own character that he tossing Ricky Harris into other side, and big forearm into the corner. Harris throws several punches, but that fires up Valiant, and he whips Harris into the ropes and lands an elbow, and with an elbow drop. had the quick win for Valiant, and he dances a bit. Our dancing character, Jeremy Valiant, and this was not that good, just there. And the Ninja and Mr. Jim Holiday joined Bob Caudle. And if you don't know who Ninja is, as we were speculating that he was the great Kabuki, but they actually confirmed that this time that he's not Kabuki, he's the Ninja, and his manager is Mr. Jim Holiday. And Holiday says that he doesn't want to him to call him Kabuki. He's a ninja, and what a ninja is, he explains about, and how is quick, and how is very hard at what he does, and how he is very focused, and all of his qualities Jim Holiday actually put on forth on before Bob Caudle. And we get to the match where Ninja actually with Jim Holiday square off against Mike Davis. This was also kind of a squash match, you can say, and Ninja throws a chops by the Ninja, kind of in the style of Jay Youngblood, Ricky Steamboat, and as well as Wahoo McDaniel. And Mike Davis tried to fight back, throwing some few punches at the Ninja, but that doesn't stop the Ninja. He throws more chops at Davis and then stops on him. And in the final moments, the Ninja climbs up the middle rope and lands onto Davis with a diving headbutt for the pin. A very dominant victory for the Ninja. So this was the victory. So this character actually we are seeing right now the same kind of character, and that character is played in NXT. If you see Tian Shah of Xylee team that we are seeing right now. So kind of a very large resemblance with this ninja character, and I'm very into this kind of character. As I mean, I know that this 1981 period, so it wouldn't be not like a presentation or something, would not be very great or something. I know that, but still, this character is still brought about into this present era of wrestling as well. So that's great. So this was a match, and some squash matches there. So nothing to say about kind of average episode, normal episode that was going. And then we saw Ricky Steamboat and Leroy Brown had an interview, and they joined Bob Caudle. And Steamboat says the Ninja's chops are very devastating, and then jokes with Caudle about Halloween being on the 31st, and fans actually laughs on that. And Steamboat says he knows a little martial arts and knows that Ninja might have his eyes set on the Mid Atlantic title. And if actually I as you know, I watch these episodes in WWE Network. So lots, actually 3 weeks episode was missing, and I only got one episode that was kind of covered into some website, and two of the episode I didn't see after that. And this is the 31st October and the last week of the October episode 1981 review. And Ricky Steamboat is already having the Mid Atlantic title. So I think so he defeated Ivan Koloff, because Ivan Koloff was a Mid Atlantic heavyweight champion. So that's what they are saying, that Mid Atlantic title. So Bad Leroy Brown says and comes, and he says that he's on the trail of Sergeant Slaughter's TV championship, and he says Slaughter is stepping on a lot of people, and says he should try stepping on him because he's a big guy. And Brown believes, and Slaughter's real name is Gomer Pyle, as he says. So Bad Leroy Brown was very entertaining. His segments and his talk and his way of talking is very good, and it's good to listen. And we get to the co-main event. We can say Ron Bass versus Chris Markov. Ron Bass is the TV champion, the NWA TV champion, and Chris Markov is Mid Atlantic TV. So yeah, Mid Atlantic TV champion. So I know this was for the Mid Atlantic TV title. So I think so. Ron Bass is the NWA Mid Championship, NWA, and Chris Markov is the another TV champion they said about. So this was for the Mid Atlantic TV title. So it means that it was for Ron Bass title, 10-minute match, and this was a good match. I mean, not a very good match or a best match or something, but still this was good to see. And at the early going, Markov gets Bass in a headlock, follows with an armbar and some knee, and knocking down, and have some arm drags. And Markov had a big slam by Markov on Bass, and tries for a pin. Markov continues his attack, driving a knee to Bass midsection, and kind of a baby face heel kind of storyline, simple storyline. Chris Markov used ropes to try to pin Bass, but ref sees that, and Markov continues to beat on Bass, and Bass crowd chants for and support for Bass, who started making a comeback. Then with a few punches, he lands an elbow. So kind of control by heel, and then a comeback by face, a similar tried and tested storyline that we are seeing. And Lord Alfred Hayes climbs up on the ring apron and tries to kind of interfere. Chris Markov's manager, Lord Alfred Hayes, and Bass knocks down Hayes, and the referee quickly identifies that this is gonna be a disqualification, and this match ends in disqualification, and Ron Bass wins via DQ. So could have been a very good match, but they end it with this. DQ situation, but still a fun to watch, I would say. And only match that I liked in this show. And then we get to Sergeant Slaughter versus Don Kernodle, and this was also good, but this was also on a kind of a squash side, because as we've been seeing that ever since Sergeant Slaughter actually debuted into this Mid Atlantic area, he's kind of booked very strong, and he's a champion right now. And in the early going, Sergeant Slaughter had a full domination on Don Cardinal. Don Cardinal tries to have reversing wrist lock by Slaughter, and I like this thing in this match, that Sergeant Slaughter in the first few moments, first few minutes of the match, actually kind of out wrestles Don Cardinal, and that was great to see. And he uses his how much of big he is, but he's a power wrestler as well as a very good mat wrestler as well, and that impressed me. And this is the second time Slaughter has impressed me in this match. But normal stuff, but still good to see Sergeant Slaughter using that mat-based technique on Don Cadwell, and having whips and wrist lock attempts and headlock attempts, snap marrying him, keeps Canoodle down, and controlling him with the chin lock. And Canoodle finally reverses a wrist lock by Slaughter and gets him in an armbar. Slaughter whips him up to the ropes, and they shoulder block each other then, and Canoodle hits the rope again, but Slaughter catches him and slams him. And in the end, Slaughter actually ends up catching Canoodle off the ropes again, and tosses him to the corner and follows with a clothesline. And Sergeant Slaughter applies that his finishing maneuver, the finishing submission, the Cobra Clutch on Canoodle, and that was it. And he wins the match via submission. So this was the episode, very short episode. Nothing. This was a very underwhelming episode, I would say, of Mid Atlantic. And post that, as we know, Mid Atlantic wrestling actually ends up with the interview, and Roddy Piper comes out for an interview and says that Ricky Steamboat and Bahu McDonald and Rero Vaughn, others come out to challenge him, but he saw one thing, that he wasn't had one of them sign a contract to wrestle him. So he's kind of saying that they are afraid, but they are afraid, and they're just saying just to please fans. And Sergeant Slaughter then comes up and said fans and wrestlers tell him that they want to be Marines, but he found one wrestler that he thinks can be a good Marine, and brings in Jim Nelson, and he tells Nelson to do 10 push-ups, and he says that Nelson will do whatever I will say, and he tells him to do, and he's going to take that boy and make him a man. So kind of Sergeant Slaughter's character that was being played out, so very nice. And finally Ivan Koloff comes up and said he's coming back for Ron Bass TV title, so he will defeat Ron Bass, as he says. So Ivan Koloff is going for the TV title now, where he was a Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship champion before. So kind of very difficult to understand the story connection and all, but still kind of understanding here and there what's happening. Not a very much development that I had got. But next week's show, next episode of Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling is a very hard stuff, because this entire month episode is not available on WWE Network, and I have been trying to get that from anywhere. I mean, even if I get the coverage of what would happen, that would have been good as well. But I'm not able to find that. Or I'll be trying, but still, if we don't get anything, but we will be certainly be continuing with this review, and as and when we get the missing shows and all, we would be doing that in the future. I mean, if you think about that, because if I do the missing shows, that would not kind of be binding with the storyline, because when I would complete this Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling episodes, and then I would do missing shows, so that could kind of a very very changed kind of presentation for the new viewers right there. So I would be saying that whenever I would be doing the missing show, so this is the show before this episode, and this is a show before after this episode. So I would be certainly be clearing out that when the missing shows, maybe you can say that I will, if I get, I will do definitely. So this is the episode of this week's Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling, 31st October 1981, and I hope you liked it. This was an okay show, not a very best show, very underwhelming after I started a Mid Atlantic show. And the only match I liked was the opener, Buddy Landell and Charlie Fulton, and the ninja thing was okay. Sergeant Slaughter Down Colonel, I liked his. The match wasn't that great, but still it was a fun kind of stuff that Sergeant Slaughter had. And the other match I actually liked in this show would be Ron Bass, Chris Markov, which ended in a DQ. So that was the negative of this match. So matches could have been good, but there were some things that was being played out. So that's why it didn't go that well. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content like this. And I will see you guys in the next one, guys. And until then, be safe, stay energetic. Peace.